Hi, hope everyone is having a great week. I have had kind of a tough week, and I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of details on it, but I'm going to kind of talk about it really fast, and then I'm going to give you some types of information that most of you aren't going to care about right now, but trust me, at some point in your life, whether you know it or not, and that sounds really weird to put it, but I'm going to let you know why, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to deal with this issue, and at least in this day and age, you need to know what the cost can possibly be like. So over the weekend, my mother fell. My mother's in her late 70s. Her memory's starting to go. She's weak and she's strong at the same time, which sounds really weird, but overall she's healthy. But she's got a weak knee, and like I said, her memory's slipping, and other things happen. So she fell and she ended up in the hospital, and they determined that she cannot live by herself anymore, ever, never. So we had to come up with a solution. Where do you put mom? What do you do with mom? And initially, I thought I was going to have some time because they said that they were going to be sending her to a rehab facility and that she would be there at least 20 days. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got some time. I can go out and look at different assisted living places and see where she could be. And there's one, that was really close to the house, and it seemed wonderful. And I'm thinking, wow, how did I luck into this? I think I've got everything going well. Then stuff started happening. Uh, I'm going to link to a blog post that I wrote that talks about some of it, but it doesn't talk about all of it. And it's the rest of it that I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit here. So anyway, my mom didn't live in town. So basically I had to drive to the Rochester area very early Saturday morning. I mean, I got the call at 3:05. And what's funny is I had a premonition it was coming, so I didn't go to bed, and I thought it would come at 3 o'clock. So 3:05 is pretty good. I just had a feeling, the spidey senses, you listen to them. So basically I had to drive there Saturday. I was there a long time. Drove back Sunday, and then Monday, and then today. And today, my wife and I brought her home. And by home, I mean my house. So for as long as we can from this point on, I'm going to have my mother in the house. And it's really different because now that I'm spending a little bit more time with her, I'm seeing just how much trouble she was really in. And I partially feel like a bad son because I didn't really pick up on it. But a lot of people say, it's hard to pick up on that with your parents. You don't see it all the time. I mean, like I said, I was seeing her once a week, only for a few hours. I knew that there was some slippage, but I didn't realize it was as bad as it is until this weekend. So I'm not a religious person at all, but you can't deny this particular phrase. This was a blessing. So we now have her in the house. Now you're probably wondering, why is she in the house when I mentioned assisted living? Here's the deal. Nursing homes cost a lot of money. They just do. Unless you spend down any money that you have to get on Medicaid, nursing homes cost between $9,000 and $11,000 a month. Now, if you spend down to Medicaid, then whatever money you might have all goes to the nursing home except for, well, it goes to Medicaid, except for maybe $50 a month. That's just how it works. You don't get to keep any money. If you're married, your spouse gets to keep certain money. If there's a house and the spouse is living in the house, then you get to keep that. There's other things you can do. So you can do a lot of stuff. But one of the freaky things turns out to be assisted living. Now, assisted living sounds pretty cool. In essence, if a person can basically take care of themselves, they can go into assisted living. And basically it says, if you need just a couple of people looking in on you here and there every once in a while, it's not a big deal. You can come and go as you want. Well, you have to sign in and out, but still you can come and go as you want. There's a lot of activities. It sounds like a great deal. The prices range depending on where you live. Where I live, for instance, they run between $2,400 a month and $4,100 a month. And those may sound kind of high, but actually that's kind of fair. And my mother is bringing in enough money so that that could be covered, right? Okay, so that all sounds good. And the rate these people had, it was going to be perfect because, you know, I would be able to get to my mother really quick. There were certain things I could do, my wife could do. It sounded great until certain things started breaking down, and I went to the nursing home to see if I could get her there sooner, because it turns out that I'm not such a dumb guy, and I predicted that my mother was not going to go into a skilled nursing facility for rehab on her knees. I called that one. No one would believe me until it happened, because I'm in healthcare. I know some things. So what happens is we go over there and we're talking about this thing. I'm thinking, oh my God, I may have to move her sooner than later. And while I was calling the hospital, debating with this woman certain things, the lady at the assisted living handed my wife this sheet of extras. Extras means basically that if they have to do certain extra stuff, there's a little minor fee that gets attached to it. I don't know how many of you understand what diabetics have to do. We have to basically prick our fingers, although I prick my hand, and we have to check our glucose at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, in certain circumstances 3 times a day. At this particular place, if they had to watch you prick your finger, watch you, not do it, watch you prick your finger 3 times a day to make sure you did it, that was $714 a month. Yes, it was. If they had to encourage you to either shower or wash up more than twice a week, that was $1,300 a month. Now, here's the thing. They do a direct or automatic withdrawal. So you start off with a certain fee, but if they have to do any of these other things, they just add it on and then they automatically withdraw it. Now, I'm thinking, are you kidding? I looked at the list and there was nothing on the list that pertained to my mother, but my wife made a good point, which was, what if they decide that they actually did some of these things, or they go above and beyond, but then they charge you, and then you get this, bill showing how much money they took out? How do you fight it? They've already taken the money out. And how do you know what it is that they're really doing if they have these other things that are somewhat hidden and somewhat sneaky? And there were a bunch of them. And as I was looking, and like I said, I excluded my mother from all of them, but there were 9 or 10 that were like borderline. That would have been an extra $7,000 to $9,000 a month. Can you imagine thinking that you're paying a certain rate, and next thing you know, it's more than 50% added to it? Actually, what am I talking about? 50,000, 200%, because the rate would have been around $3,100. She qualified for certain discounts because my dad was in the service, but imagine you're talking $3,100, and they could have added an extra $7,000. That's just crazy. I tell you this because one of the things that we all sometimes do is we think we're making the right decision, but we don't pay attention to the small things. I'm a numbers guy. The thing is, I had looked at the early numbers, but the lady had never given me the extra sheet. She gives it to my wife, and I know what she was thinking. Well, I'll hand it to the wife. She's not going to do anything with it. He's never going to see it. And when he comes in, he'll sign the contract. Then we got him. And she's a lovely lady. I'm not saying that they would try to do anything intentionally bad, but the possibility was there. So if it comes to your parents or any family members who you need to have placed somewhere, you need to ask them about incidentals. You just must. Sometimes there's package deals, certain levels of care, and they package a whole lot of things in there. And you know what you can afford and what you can't. But if it's assisted living, maybe even independent living, you need to check the small things. That's all I've got today. I'm going to have to figure out how I do my videos. tonight she's sleeping well, but she doesn't normally sleep well. I don't normally sleep well. And notice I'm talking lower than I normally do because we've got her in a bedroom that's on the other side of my office, and I don't want to wake her. It's going to be interesting, but I'm going to get these done. Anyway, I'm Mitch Mitchell. I hope you have a lovely week. And if you have any stories to share, please share them. Let's let people know exactly the types of things that can happen. You take care.